Imagine walking into a room, and without saying a word, the entire atmosphere shifts. Not because you're loud, not because you're trying, but because your presence carries a quiet force people can't ignore. This is not regular confidence. This is dangerously confident, the kind of inner power that doesn't need to announce itself, explain itself, or seek permission to exist. Most people think confidence is volume, charisma, or charm. But the truth is far more subtle. Real confidence is calm. Real confidence is controlled. Real confidence is the power you feel long before you ever speak. And here's the secret no one tells you. The world becomes quiet for the person who does not react. The world bends for the person who needs nothing. The world respects the person who carries themselves with silent certainty. Dangerous confidence is not about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself so completely that nothing outside you can shake you, provoke you, or define you. In this audiobook, you're not here to learn how to fake it until you make it. You're here to become someone unshakable, someone who stands firm when others fold, someone who walks with presence, speaks with intention, and moves through life without fear, without desperation, without apology. Over the next 10 laws, you will learn how to unlock a level of confidence that feels different, stronger, sharper, calmer, the kind that cannot be performed, only built from the inside out. So, take a slow breath. Relax your shoulders. Let the noise of the world fade away. Because today, you begin a transformation from who you were into someone the world cannot ignore. Welcome to the 10 laws of dangerous confidence. There is a moment in every powerful person's life when everything changes. A moment when they realize the most dangerous form of confidence does not come from what they say, but from what they no longer feel the need to respond to. Non-reactivity is not passive. It is not weakness. It is not silence born from fear. It is a deliberate refusal to let the world control your emotional state. Most people live as emotional open doors. Someone criticizes them, they defend. Someone disrespects them, they explode. Someone doubts them, they rush to justify themselves. Every comment hooks them. Every opinion pulls them. Every situation dictates their mood. But a dangerously confident person operates differently. They do not react on impulse. They do not rise to every provocation. They do not chase after every misunderstanding. Instead, they stay centered, calm, still, unbothered, while others burn their energy trying to get a rise from them. This is where true power begins. The psychology of not reacting. When someone tries to provoke you, they're not just speaking words. They're pulling on strings, testing where your emotional buttons are. If you react immediately, they learn everything about how to control you. Your anger tells them what gets under your skin. Your defensiveness shows them where you doubt yourself. Your explanations reveal your insecurities. But when you don't react, when you simply observe, with calm neutrality, something fascinating happens. They lose their grip on you. The game ends. The power returns to you. Because nothing is more unsettling to someone expecting a reaction than receiving stillness. Non-reactivity breaks patterns. People expect emotional fireworks. They expect panic, anger, irritation, or explanation. But when you do none of that, their entire strategy collapses. You become unpredictable, unshakable, unreadable. And unreadable people are dangerous because you cannot manipulate someone you cannot read. The silence that commands respect. Think about the most respected leaders, the strongest warriors, the true masters in any field. They are not reactive. They do not respond to noise. They understand that reacting too quickly reveals your weaknesses before you even realize it. Silence, when controlled, becomes a form of communication. It says, I am not moved. I am not threatened. I am not playing this game. It is confidence expressed without a single word. This doesn't mean you stay silent forever. It means you choose when to speak. And when you speak, it's intentional, not emotional. Your silence creates gravity. It makes people listen harder, watch you closer, respect you more. The internal shift to master non-reactivity. You must shift your attention from external triggers to internal control. Most people ask, why did they say that to me? Why would they treat me this way? Why is this happening? A dangerously confident person asks, how do I want to respond? What outcome do I want? Does this even deserve my energy? Once you begin asking different questions, you begin acting from power, not from emotion. You stop defending yourself unnecessarily. You stop trying to correct every misunderstanding. You stop letting outside noise enter your inner world. You realize that most situations don't need a reaction, they need restraint. Micro examples of non-reactivity. Someone rolls their eyes at you. You stay calm. Someone tries to provoke you in a meeting. You breathe and respond slowly, or not at all. Someone sends you a passive-aggressive message. You answer with clarity, not emotion. Someone calls you out publicly. You remain composed and choose your moment to speak. Each time you do this, you send a message, I control myself. Therefore, I control the situation. The non-reactive person is always the most powerful person in the room. Not because they dominate others, but because they dominate themselves. The energy cost of reactivity. Every time you react emotionally, you pay a price, your peace, your focus, your clarity. You drain your internal battery, responding to things that don't matter. You scatter your strength into places that don't deserve it. You allow the world to dictate how you feel. But when you practice non-reactivity, you conserve your energy. You become selective about what gets your attention, and confidence grows naturally inside that quiet, protected space. Non-reactivity is not suppression. It's selection. It's deciding, this moment doesn't deserve my power. Becoming untouchable. Here is the truth that few people ever learn. You don't need to control the world to be confident. You just need to control yourself. When nothing outside you determines your emotional state, you become untouchable. When criticism doesn't shake you, you become powerful. When provocation doesn't move you, you become dangerous. When rejection doesn't break you, you become limitless. The person who cannot be provoked is the person who cannot be controlled. Your practice for this week. For the next 7 days, practice this simple habit. Pause before every reaction. Even just 1 second, 1 breath, 1 moment of observation. That single second separates impulsive reactions from powerful responses. In that second, You reclaim control. You choose strength instead of emotion. You choose direction instead of chaos. You choose dangerous confidence. In mastering non-reactivity, you take your first true step into becoming someone the world cannot shake, someone the world cannot predict, someone the world cannot manipulate. This is the foundation of dangerous confidence. Everything else builds on this law. When you stop reacting, you start leading. You start commanding. You start becoming the version of yourself you were always meant to be. Before confidence can grow, it must have a foundation strong enough to stand on. And that foundation is self-respect. Most people try to build confidence on shaky ground: compliments, achievements, approval, validation. But these things shift. They rise and fall. They come and go. And so their confidence rises and falls with them. But a dangerously confident person does not build on sand. They build on something internal, something unshakable, something earned through the way they treat themselves. Because you cannot feel powerful in a life where you consistently betray yourself. Self-respect is not just a feeling. It is a behavior, a standard, a way of living, and it is the root system from which all real confidence grows. The first sign of low confidence: self-betrayal. If you ever feel insecure, unsure, or small, the reason often traces back to one thing: you abandoned yourself somewhere. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You allowed someone to cross your boundaries. You accepted disrespect because confronting it felt uncomfortable. You tolerated behavior that chipped away at your worth. You put others before yourself to avoid being seen as selfish. Every one of those moments seems small, almost invisible, but inside, something breaks your self-respect. And when self-respect weakens, confidence collapses. Because why would you trust yourself if you're always abandoning yourself? A dangerously confident person understands a simple truth: if I don't respect myself, no one else will. Respect creates presence. People can sense self-respect long before you speak. It shows in the way you walk into a room, how you set boundaries, the tone of your voice, the choices you make, the standards you hold. Self-respect radiates. It tells people I know my worth. I don't tolerate disrespect. I take myself seriously. I choose my life consciously. And without you saying a word, others instinctively adjust their behavior. They speak to you differently. They listen more carefully. They test your boundaries less. They treat you with the same respect you treat yourself with. This is not ego. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Because the world mirrors the way you show up. The behavior of the self-respecting person. A person with self-respect carries themselves differently. Here are the invisible behaviors that create that dangerous presence. 1. They keep promises to themselves. When they say they'll wake up early, they do. When they commit to a standard, they follow through. Their confidence grows because their word means something especially to themselves. 2. They do not overshare or over-explain. Their choices stand on their own. They don't dilute their decisions with unnecessary justification. 3. They set boundaries clearly, calmly, and consistently. No apology, no guilt, no fear of losing people. Because they would rather lose someone than lose themselves. 4. They do not stay where they are disrespected. They don't beg for loyalty, love, or validation. They walk away with quiet certainty. And that walk-away power is magnetic. 5. They protect their time and energy. If something drains them, diminishes them, or disrespects them, they remove it without hesitation. These behaviors are not loud, they are not dramatic, but they create a presence people can feel. Self-respect is built through micro-choices. People often think confidence requires huge accomplishments, but true confidence is built in small, daily decisions, the decisions only you see. When you choose discipline over convenience, self-respect grows. When you keep a promise to yourself, self-respect grows. When you walk away from disrespect, self-respect grows. When you enforce a boundary, self-respect grows. When you choose what aligns with your values instead of what brings approval, self-respect grows. Every time you choose yourself, you add a layer to your strength. Every time you abandon yourself, you weaken the foundation. Self-respect is not a single decision. It is a practice, a muscle, a standard you rise to every day. The shift from seeking approval to commanding respect. People who lack self-respect chase approval. They want others to validate them, to choose them, to affirm them. But this only makes them weaker. People who have self-respect do the opposite. They don't chase, they attract. Because approval is no longer a need, it becomes a bonus. When you operate from self-respect, you no longer tolerate disrespect in any form, not from others, not from yourself, not from old habits, not from insecurities. Confidence becomes a natural byproduct of living in alignment. You no longer pretend to be strong. You become strong. Why self-respect feels dangerous to others? When you respect yourself deeply, you become harder to use, harder to manipulate, harder to control. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries will not like your growth. People who relied on your insecurity will feel threatened. People who wanted you silent will fear your voice. Your self-respect forces others to confront their lack of it. That's why it feels dangerous. Not because you harm anyone, but because your strength exposes their weakness. Your practice for this week, for the next 7 days, practice just this. Hold one boundary, without apology, without explanation, without bending. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be firm. Because the moment you enforce one boundary, something powerful happens. Your mind learns. I protect myself. I choose myself. I respect myself. And in that moment, confidence begins to grow automatically. Self-respect is the soil where dangerous confidence takes root. Without it, confidence is brittle, shallow, and easily shaken. With it, confidence becomes deep, stable, and unbreakable. When you learn to treat yourself with the respect you deserve, the world has no choice but to follow. This is the second law and one of the most transformative steps toward becoming someone unshakably, undeniably confident. There is a voice inside you that speaks long before you ever open your mouth. A voice no one else hears, but everyone else feels. A voice that shapes how you walk, how you breathe, how you show up in a room. This voice is your inner narrator, your most constant companion, and your most powerful influence. Most people never realize that confidence doesn't start with what you do. It starts with what you say to yourself when no one is watching. Your inner voice is either your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. It either builds you or breaks you. It either sharpens you or shrinks you. Dangerously confident people do not allow their inner voice to run wild. They train it. They direct it. They command it. Because they understand a fundamental truth. The way you speak to yourself determines the way you face the world. The inner war most people are losing every day. Millions of people suffer from the same quiet problem. Their inner voice attacks them. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. People won't respect me. Why would anyone listen to me? What if I fail? This internal criticism becomes a habit, a familiar loop. And because the brain believes repetition, these thoughts solidify into identity. You act according to who you believe you are. So, if the voice in your mind is small, scared, and doubtful, your actions will be the same. But dangerously confident people understand something others don't. You don't wait for confidence to change your inner voice. You change your inner voice, and confidence follows. The inner voice is a thermostat, not a mirror. Most people think the inner voice simply reflects how they feel. But that's backwards. Your inner voice creates how you feel. It sets the temperature of your confidence, high or low. If the thermostat is set to insecure, no amount of compliments, achievements, or validation will raise it. You will always sink back to your programmed baseline. If the thermostat is set to strong, criticism, failure, or rejection cannot lower it for long. You will rise back to your standard. Dangerous confidence is the result of setting your internal thermostat intentionally, speaking to yourself like someone you respect. If you spoke to your friends the way you speak to yourself, would they stay? Would they feel safe, supported, encouraged, strengthened? Or would they walk away from the constant criticism? Here's a truth that many people never face. You cannot hate yourself into becoming stronger. You build strength by speaking to yourself with respect. Dangerously confident people do not delude themselves with fake positivity. They do not lie to themselves with unrealistic affirmations. Instead, they speak to themselves with calm authority. Not, I am perfect, but I can handle this. Not everything will go my way, but whatever happens, I will adapt. Not I never fail, but every setback teaches me something valuable. This voice does not avoid reality, it strengthens you for it. The science of repetition. Your brain learns through repetition. The more often a thought appears, the more familiar it becomes. And eventually, the brain mistakes familiarity for truth. That's why insecure people become more insecure. Their inner voice repeats insecurity until it feels real. But this also means confidence can be built the same way. By repetition, by intention, by rewriting the internal script. You do not need to change your entire life today. You only need to start repeating a different story. Because repeated thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become identity. Identity becomes behavior. And behavior becomes confidence. catching the voice in the act. The first step to mastering your inner voice is awareness. Throughout the day, notice what you say to yourself. When you make a mistake, do you attack yourself or guide yourself? When you look in the mirror, do you judge or acknowledge? When you face uncertainty, do you doubt or encourage? These micro moments matter. They shape the tone of your internal world. Dangerously confident people treat their inner voice like a discipline, not a background noise. The 3-line morning reset. To begin reprogramming your mind. Repeat these 3 lines. Every morning I respect myself. I can handle whatever comes today. I don't need approval to move forward. Say them out loud, not whispered, not in your head. Out loud. Your voice carries authority. Your mind listens to differently. And even if it feels strange at first, after a few days your body begins to respond. Your posture changes. Your tone becomes steadier. Your decisions become firmer. This is not magic. This is training. Why the inner voice makes you dangerous. Once your inner voice becomes strong, something transformational happens. Criticism no longer destabilizes you. Rejection no longer defines you. Failure no longer discourages you. The opinions of others no longer shape your identity. You no longer crumble because the voice inside you is stronger than any voice outside you. This is what makes you dangerous. You become emotionally autonomous, independent, untouchable. People can say what they want, but they cannot enter your mind without your permission. Your practice for this week, for the next 7 days. 1. Correct every negative thought with a neutral or strong one. Not fake positivity, just truth. I'll never get this right. I'm learning. I'll get better. 2. Speak to yourself in the tone of someone you respect. Calm, firm, steady. 3. Repeat the 3-line reset every morning. Do this consistently, and within weeks your entire energy will shift. Your presence will shift. Your identity will shift. Mastering your inner voice is not about perfection. It's about reclaiming control over the story you tell yourself. Because when that story becomes strong, calm, and unwavering, confidence is no longer something you try to feel. It becomes something you are. This is the 3rd law, and once you master it, you'll start to embody a level of confidence. The world can sense the moment you walk into the room. There is a reason the most powerful people in the world are rarely the ones talking the most. They don't rush to fill silence. They don't scramble for attention. They don't explain themselves endlessly, hoping others will agree. Instead, they use their words like a blade sharp, intentional, and only when necessary. This is the law of minimal words. Because, in a world where everyone speaks too much, the person who speaks with restraint instantly stands out. Dangerously confident people do not talk to be heard. They talk to be understood. They talk with purpose, not panic. Their silence carries more weight than most people's speeches, and when they finally do speak, people listen. The weakness of over-talking. Most people talk too much because they are uncomfortable with silence. Silence makes them anxious. They fear being forgotten, ignored, or dismissed. So they talk to hold onto attention, to fill the space, to prove themselves. But talking from insecurity has a very specific energy rushed. rambling, apologetic, nervous. It weakens your presence. It dilutes your message. It exposes your self-doubt. People who lack confidence try to convince. People who possess confidence do not need to. When you speak too much, you reveal your fears, your uncertainty, your need for approval, your desire to be liked, your lack of internal control. Over-talking is not expression. It is leakage, your insecurity spilling out. Dangerously confident people are not afraid of silence. They control it. Silence as a form of power. Silence is not empty. Silence is presence. Silence is self-control. Silence is dominance. People expect reactions. They expect quick answers. They expect you to fill the space they create. But when you don't, when you wait, when you observe, when you allow silence to expand, you instantly shift the dynamic. Suddenly, the pressure is not on you, it's on them. They start explaining. They start justifying. They start revealing more than they intended. This is the hidden power of saying less, you learn more. Expose less. And hold the psychological high ground. Silence makes people lean in. It makes them pay attention. It makes them treat your words as valuable. Because you treat them as valuable. The art of speaking less but stronger. The law of minimal words does not mean staying silent forever. It means speaking with intention. Here's what dangerously confident communication looks like. 1. Slow, calm responses. You do not rush. Rushing is what insecure people do. A slow answer communicates certainty. I choose my words, not my emotions. 2. Short, direct statements. Yes, no. That won't work for me. I've made my decision. Clear, firm, done. No explanation unless you choose to give one. 3. Pauses that command attention. A strategically placed pause makes your message land harder. It tells the room you are in control of the pace, not them. 4. Questions instead of explanations. If someone challenges you, ask, what makes you think that? What outcome are you hoping for? Is there a clearer reason behind your concern? Questions shift pressure away from you and reveal their intentions. 5. Speaking only when it adds value, not to fill space, not to ease tension, not to seek validation, only to move the conversation forward with clarity. This is how leaders speak. This is how confident people command attention without demanding it. Why minimal words feel dangerous? Because silence exposes insecurity. When someone talks endlessly, people subconsciously feel, oh, they're not sure of themselves. But when someone speaks briefly and confidently, people feel they know exactly who they are. Minimal words create mystery. Mystery creates curiosity. Curiosity creates respect. People don't fear loudness. They fear unpredictability. And there is nothing more unpredictable than a person who speaks only by choice. You can't read them. You can't manipulate them. You can't pull them into emotional games. Their restraint becomes their advantage. Listening, the hidden power of the quiet person. Most people listen only so they can reply. Confident people listen to understand. And in doing so, they gain far more information. When you listen deeply, you see motives. You hear insecurities. You detect lies. You understand dynamics. You gain leverage. People reveal their entire psychology if you give them space to talk. Meanwhile, you remain composed, steady, and informed. This is how negotiation works. This is how leadership works. This is how power works. The person who speaks least often understands most, and understanding is power. The practice for this week: cut your words in half for the next 7 days. Try this. 1. Before responding, pause for 1 second. This creates presence and intention. 2. Keep your statements short and strong. Trim unnecessary words. 3. Resist the urge to fill silence. Let discomfort work for you. 4. Ask questions instead of defending yourself. 5. Listen more than you speak. At first, you will feel the urge to over-explain. You will want to reassure. You will want to break silence. Don't. Let the silence carry the weight. Let your presence fill the space. Let your words become meaningful by becoming fewer. In the end, less is more and more powerful. When you speak less, people hear you more. When you choose words carefully, they land more deeply. When you stop trying to be heard, your presence becomes impossible to ignore. This is the 4th law, the law that transforms communication into power, presence into influence, and silence into strength. Master this, and your words will stop sounding like noise and start sounding like truth. Before you ever speak a word, before you share an idea, before you even introduce yourself, your body has already spoken for you. Rive, rive, rive your presence the way you walk, stand, sit, breathe, and look at the world broadcasts who you are long before your voice does. And people believe your presence more than your words. 2 people can say the exact same sentence. One sounds weak, insecure, forgettable. The other sounds commanding, grounded, impossible to ignore. The difference isn't vocabulary, it's presence. Dangerously confident people understand this. They know confidence is not only internal, it is expressed through every movement their body makes. Their presence is deliberate, controlled, quietly powerful, because the body is not decoration. It is communication, the silent language of confidence. Most people don't consciously analyze body language, but they feel it instantly. If you walk into a room with your shoulders slouched, eyes darting, movements rushed, energy-anxious people subconsciously decide they don't need to take you seriously. But if you walk in calmly, upright, with measured steps and steady eyes, people sense something different. They sense control. They sense stability. They sense someone who knows themselves. Presence is not about trying to impress. It's about removing the signals that betray insecurity. When your body matches your confidence, people feel you before they understand you. Your body is always sending a message, even when you're silent. Your body speaks. How you hold your shoulders, how you breathe, how you enter a room, how you make eye contact, how you sit in a chair, how you place your hands, how you move when others are watching. These cues tell people everything they watchings need to know about your internal world. A shaky breath says you're overwhelmed. A hunched posture says you're unsure. Fidgeting says you're uncomfortable. Avoiding eye contact says you fear being seen. But steady breathing says you're grounded. Strong posture says you're self-assured. Purposeful movement says you're in control. Calm eye contact says you're unafraid. Dangerous confidence begins the moment your body stops echoing insecurity and starts projecting certainty. The transformation begins with one shift: slow down. Confident people do everything slower. Not dragging. Not lazy, controlled. They walk slower. They speak slower. They turn their head with intention. They move with clarity, not urgency. Because insecurity is urgent. It's rushed. It's frantic. Confidence is unhurried. When you slow down your movements, something powerful happens. Your mind follows. Your breathing follows. Your energy follows. Suddenly you're not reacting, you're directing. Your presence fills the room naturally, without effort. Eye contact. The quiet test of self-assuredness. Most people break eye contact too quickly. Not because they're shy, because they're insecure. The eyes reveal whether you are comfortable being seen. And dangerous confidence requires exactly that: the willingness to let yourself be seen without shrinking. Here's the rule. Hold eye contact 1 second longer than feels comfortable. Not staring. Not intimidating. Just present. That extra second communicates: I am here. I am steady. I am not afraid of connection. This alone can shift how people perceive you. Posture the frame around your energy. Your posture is your frame. A weak frame makes your energy collapse inward. A strong frame expands it. Dangerously confident posture is simple. Shoulders back, chest open, head level, spine straight, relaxed, not tense. This posture tells your nervous system, I am safe. I am strong. I belong here. And your mind believes your body. Just as insecurity shows through posture, confidence grows through posture. Controlled stillness, the most underrated power move. Most people move too much. They fidget, adjust, tap, twitch, shift, bounce, all signs of nervous energy leaking out. But a confident person is still. Their body is steady. Their hands rest calmly. Their expression is composed. Their breathing is slow. Stillness is intimidating. Stillness is respect, commanding. Stillness is presence. Because stillness signals you do not need to prove yourself. The doorway. Technique: entering with presence before entering any room or meeting. Try this. 1. Pause at the doorway. Just 1 second. 2. Take a slow breath. 3. Straighten your posture. 4. Lower your shoulders. 5. Walk in at a steady pace. This single moment resets your entire presence. It is astonishing how much power you communicate simply by entering a space intentionally instead of rushing in mindlessly. Why presence feels dangerous? Because presence is hard to ignore. When you control your space, people take notice. When you move with intention, people adjust around you. When your body communicates confidence, people listen before you speak. Weak presence says, I hope you accept me. Powerful presence says, I know who I am. Dangerous presence says, you will feel me before you understand me. That is the energy of leaders. warriors, and individuals who walk through life grounded in their identity. Your practice for this week. For the next 7 days, practice this trio. 1. Slow your movements. Walk slower, turn slower, sit slower, speak slower. 2. Hold eye contact for 1 extra second. 3. Use the doorway technique every time you enter a room. These small practices compound quickly. Within days, people will treat you differently, not because you said anything new, but because your presence announced your confidence for you. Presence is not something you perform. It is something you embody. When your body aligns with your inner strength, your confidence becomes something people don't just hear, they feel. This is the 5th law, and mastering it makes you unforgettable the moment you enter any room. Confidence is not built in the easy places. It does not grow in comfort, convenience, or routine. It is forged in friction in the moments that stretch you, challenge you, and push you beyond who you were yesterday. Most people spend their lives running from discomfort. They choose what feels safe, predictable, and familiar. But what feels safe rarely makes you strong, and what feels familiar rarely makes you confident. Dangerously confident people understand a truth most never learn. Comfort is the enemy of confidence. Discomfort is the birthplace of power. You don't become unshakable by avoiding hard things. You become unshakable by walking toward them until they no longer scare you. The cost of living small. Think about the moments where you doubted yourself the most. Were they the moments you were trying something new, or the moments you stayed in the same place for too long? Comfort tricks you. It whispers, "Stay here. It's safe." But in that safety, you lose your edge. Your skills soften. Your resilience fades. Your belief in your own capability shrinks. Over time, your life becomes smaller, not because you lacked potential, but because you avoided the discomfort required to unlock it. This is why many people feel insecure despite having talent, intelligence, or potential. They have no proof of their strength. They have avoided the very experiences that would have shown them what they're capable of. Confidence is built through evidence, and evidence is built through discomfort. Discomfort is training, not punishment. Dangerously confident people treat discomfort differently. Where others see fear, they see training. Where others see obstacles, they see opportunity. Where others retreat, they advance. This mindset shift changes everything. When you feel discomfort, instead of saying, "I don't want to feel this," you begin saying, "This is where I grow." Suddenly, discomfort isn't a threat. It's a signal, a doorway, a weight being placed on your mental muscles so they can become stronger. Just like physical muscles grow under resistance, your emotional and psychological muscles grow under challenge. Discomfort is not the enemy. It is the gym. Micro-discomfort, training the path to becoming unshakable. You don't need to throw yourself into extreme challenges. Dangerous confidence is built through small acts of courage done consistently. Here are the micro-discomforts that reshape identity. 1. Speaking up when you normally stay silent. Your voice strengthens each time you use it. 2. Setting boundaries when it feels uncomfortable. Your self-respect grows each time you protect it. 3. Starting something new even when you feel unready. Your courage expands each time you take the first step. 4. Doing the hard task before the easy one. Your discipline deepens each time you choose effort over avoidance. 5. Staying calm when you want to react. Your emotional mastery increases each time you resist old patterns. Each of these moments is small, but together, they form the psychological armor that confidence needs. Discomfort as evidence of strength. Every time you push into discomfort, something powerful happens. You walk away with proof that you can handle more than you thought. Proof that you are not as fragile as you feared. Proof that fear can be felt and still moved through. Confidence doesn't come from telling yourself you're strong. It comes from showing yourself you're strong. Avoiding discomfort tells your brain, I can't handle this. Facing discomfort tells your brain, I am capable. And your brain believes whichever message you repeat. The danger of never being tested. People who never face discomfort never know their strength. Without challenge, their self-belief is weak. They crumble under pressure because they've never practiced resilience. They fear failure because they've never pushed beyond it. They fear rejection because they've never survived it. They fear uncertainty because they've never navigated it. You cannot become dangerous if you've never been tested. It is through discomfort that you learn how to stay steady under pressure, how to trust yourself, how to adapt, how to overcome, how to rise after falling. Comfort destroys it. Turning fear into fuel, fear does not disappear as you grow. What changes is your relationship with it. The goal is not to live without fear. The goal is to live despite fear, to feel it and move anyway. When discomfort becomes familiar, fear loses its power. It no longer paralyzes you. It becomes a signal that something important is on the other side. The people you admire, the leaders, creators, builders, performers, they didn't succeed because they felt fearless. They succeeded because they trained discomfort until it felt normal. The shift from avoidance to engagement. Watch how your life changes when you stop avoiding discomfort and start engaging with it. Instead of, I don't know what will happen, you say, I'll handle whatever happens. Instead of, this scares me, you say, this will grow me. Instead of, I'm not ready, you say, I'll become ready through action. This mindset is what separates ordinary confidence from dangerous confidence. Ordinary confidence needs things to be easy. Dangerous confidence thrives when they aren't. Your practice for this week: choose one small discomfort every day and do it anyway. Just one. Start the conversation. Say no. Hold the boundary. Try the new task. Ask the question. Show up even if you feel nervous. Take the opportunity even if you might fail. These small pushes accumulate, and with each one, you prove to yourself that discomfort cannot break you. Mastering discomfort does not make life easier. It makes you stronger. And when you become the kind of person who can withstand pressure, uncertainty, and fear, your confidence becomes something rare, something grounded, something unshakable, something dangerous. This is the sixth law. And for many people, it is the turning point, the moment confidence stops being theoretical and becomes real, earned, and unstoppable. Rejection is one of the most feared experiences in the human mind. It stings. It exposes. It shakes the ego. And because of that, most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. They stay quiet to avoid being judged. They stay small to avoid being noticed. They stay comfortable to avoid being turned down. They stay invisible to avoid hearing the word no. But every time you hide from rejection, your confidence weakens. Every time you avoid risk, your belief in yourself shrinks. Every time you let fear decide, your identity becomes smaller. Dangerously confident people are different. They do not fear rejection, they use it. They know a secret most people never discover. Rejection is not a verdict. Rejection is information. Rejection is direction. Rejection is training. And the moment you stop taking rejection personally, you become unstoppable. Rejection is not an identity. It is feedback. When most people hear no, they translate it into I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'll never succeed. I shouldn't try again. I'm not worth choosing. This is the real danger, not the rejection itself, but the story they attach to it. Dangerously confident people separate the two. Rejection of a request is not rejection of your worth. Rejection of an idea is not rejection of your potential. Rejection of your effort is not rejection of who you are. Rejection is simply data feedback about timing, strategy, fit, or opportunity. It is never a measurement of your value. The moment you detach your identity from rejection, your confidence gains a layer of armor most people never develop. The people who win big get rejected the most. Look at the most successful individuals in any field. Authors who were rejected by dozens of publishers, entrepreneurs whose ideas were laughed at, artists who were ignored for years, athletes who were cut from teams early on. What separated them from everyone else was not natural talent, it was rejection immunity. They understood that rejection is part of the path, not a sign to stop walking it. Every no sharpened their skill. Every setback increased their determination. Every rejection refined their direction. Most people wait for life to be smooth before taking risks. Dangerously confident people understand smooth paths don't exist. You earn your confidence by walking the uneven ones. Rejection as redirection. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every person is meant to stay. Not every path is meant to lead somewhere. Rejection often protects you from the wrong things, the wrong jobs, the wrong relationships, the wrong environments, the wrong investments, the wrong timing. But most people see rejection as punishment. Dangerously confident people see it as alignment. They ask, what did this rejection reveal? What is this guiding me away from what? Is this pushing me toward? What lesson is hidden here? When you stop resisting rejection and start learning from it, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for your growth. The psychology of thick skin. Confidence is not the absence of hurt. Confidence is the ability to recover quickly, to feel the sting, process it, and move forward with even more clarity. This resilience is what people refer to as thick skin. Thick skin does not mean you stop caring about anything. It means you stop letting things break you. It means you don't crumble when criticized. You don't spiral when ignored nod. You don't fall apart when turned down nime. You don't take everything personally. Most people are emotionally fragile because they have never trained themselves to withstand discomfort. But rejection is the training. It strengthens you from the inside out. Every time you face rejection and keep going, you harden your armor. You sharpen your courage. You build immunity. Rejection loses its power when you stop fearing it. Rejection often reveals more about others than about you. Sometimes rejection isn't about you at all. It's about their insecurities, their preferences, their limitations, their timing, their fears, their readiness. People project their own internal world onto decisions. Their no might reflect something happening inside them, not something false about you. A dangerously confident person understands this and avoids unnecessary self-blame. They don't spiral into negative assumptions. They stay grounded. The rejection reframe, a practical tool. Here's how dangerously confident people process rejection. Step 1. Feel it. But don't fuse with it. Acknowledge the sting without making it your identity. Step 2. Ask what it's teaching you. Is it skill, timing strategy, alignment, STEP? 3. Detach emotionally. Analyze logically. Rejection becomes information, not insult. Step 4. Adjust or persist, but don't retreat. Redirection or improvement, not collapse. Step 5. Move forward immediately. Stagnation creates fear. Momentum dissolves it. This 5-step reframe turns rejection from an enemy into an ally. Rejection is the weight that builds mental muscle. Think of rejection like lifting weights. The first time hurts. The second time gets easier. The 10th time makes you stronger. The 50th time makes you unstoppable. Confidence is not built by hearing yes. Confidence is built by surviving no. Every rejection you overcome becomes proof I can handle what others fear. I don't break easily. I'm tougher than I thought. I am still moving forward. This is what makes you dangerous. You are no longer afraid of one of the world's biggest fears. Your practice for this week: seek one small rejection, just one. Ask for something you're not sure you'll get. Apply for an opportunity even if you think you're not ready. Start a conversation you might have avoided. Share an idea that feels uncomfortable. This isn't about success. It's about exposure, training, immunity. Because the moment you realize rejection cannot destroy you, your confidence grows beyond anything external. Rejection is not the end. It is the sharpening stone that shapes you. It is the fire that strengthens you. It is the test that builds the version of you who no longer fears life's uncertainty. This is the 7th law, and once you master it, the world loses one of its greatest weapons against you. There is a level of confidence that feels calm, steady, grounded. And then there is a level above that, a level so rare, so powerful, that it makes you untouchable. That level is built on detachment. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you lose ambition. It does not mean you withdraw from life. Detachment means you stop tying your identity and emotional state to the outcome of events you cannot control. It means you move with intention, but without desperation. You give effort, but without fear. You pursue your goals, but without clinging to them. This is the essence of dangerous confidence: needing nothing, choosing everything. Why attachment makes you weak. Most people don't suffer because life is hard. They suffer because they are attached. Attached to results. Attached to approval. Attached to being liked. Attached to expectations. Attached to control. Attached to certainty. When the outcome aligns with their expectations, they rise. When it doesn't, they collapse. Their emotions move like a roller coaster, always controlled by external circumstances. But what happens when your happiness, identity, or self-worth is tied to something outside yourself? You become fragile. You become reactive. You become controlled by anything that threatens the thing you're attached to. Attachment is dependency, and dependency kills confidence. Detachment is freedom. Detachment is the opposite of that. It means I can want this deeply, but I don't need it to validate me. It means I can give my best effort, but I am not controlled by the result. It means I can enjoy praise, but I don't require it. It means I can face rejection and remain whole. Detachment is emotional independence. It is inner calm. It is psychological power. People can disappoint you. Opportunities can collapse. Plans can change. Outcomes can fail. But when you are detached, none of this breaks you. You no longer crumble under pressure. You no longer panic when things don't go your way. You no longer lose your sense of self when others disapprove. Because your center of gravity is internal, not external. You become dangerous when you need nothing. Most people can be manipulated. If someone knows you desperately need approval, they can withhold it. If someone knows you desperately fear rejection, they can use it against you. If someone knows you desperately crave validation, they can control you through it. If someone knows your self-worth depends on performance, they can break you with failure. But the person who needs nothing, the person who is rooted in themselves, the person whose identity is not tied to any outcome, that person is free. You cannot manipulate someone who does not need your approval. You cannot intimidate someone who is not afraid of loss. You cannot pressure someone who does not cling to control. This is why detachment feels dangerous to others, because it removes their ability to influence you. The difference between passivity and detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood. It does not mean being passive. It does not mean being emotionless. It does not mean giving up. Passive people avoid effort. Detached people give full effort, but without obsession over the outcome. Passive people fear investing energy. Detached people invest energy wisely and accept whatever comes. Passive people surrender before they act. Detached people surrender after they act, surrendering only the illusion of control. Detachment is not laziness. It is mastery. Detachment from validation. Most people live imprisoned by the opinions of others. They dress for approval, speak for approval, work for approval, change themselves for approval. But validation is unpredictable. It fluctuates with moods, biases, insecurities, and randomness. Building confidence on validation is like building a house on water. Detached people break that cycle. They enjoy praise, but they don't rely on it. They accept criticism, but they don't internalize it. Their sense of self comes from their values, their standards, and their actions, not from external applause. Detachment from outcomes. When your worth depends on the result, you operate from fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of disappointing others. But when you detach from outcomes, everything changes. You take action calmly. You perform better because your mind is not clouded by anxiety. You think clearly in high-pressure situations. You adapt faster when things shift unexpectedly. You do not freeze when challenges appear. Ironically, detachment often improves results because a relaxed mind performs far better than a desperate one. Detachment from control. Here is a truth that sets you free. You cannot control everything. You cannot predict everything. You cannot guarantee anything. Attachment comes from the illusion that you can. Detachment comes from accepting that you cannot, and acting powerfully anyway. This acceptance brings peace. It brings emotional stability. It brings strength. When you stop fighting reality, you gain control over yourself. And controlling yourself is the highest form of power. The practice of detachment, 3 daily habits for the next 7 days. Practice these. 1. Intentional action. Take action fully but without obsessing over the result. 2. Internal validation. Before seeking approval externally, ask, do I approve of what I did? 3. Outcome journaling. Write down one situation you cannot control today. Then write, I release the outcome. I control my effort. This rewires your emotional relationship with uncertainty. When you detach, you rise. You rise. Because fear loosens its grip. You rise because failure no longer defines you. You rise because rejection no longer wounds you. You rise because validation no longer controls you. You rise because your foundation is internal, not something the world can take away. This is the 8th law, and it marks the transition from confidence to dangerous confidence. Because when nothing owns you, you become someone no one can break. Confidence is not magic. It is not a gift. It is not something certain people are born with and others will never have. Confidence is competence, the quiet certainty that comes from knowing you can do what you set out to do. Dangerously confident people do not rely on hype or empty affirmations. They build a form of confidence that is earned, rooted in reality, and unshakable, because it comes from skill, not fantasy. You cannot fake competence. You cannot shortcut competence. You cannot pretend your way to mastery. But once you build it, once your skill reaches a level where you stop, hoping you can perform and start knowing you can, your confidence becomes something solid, something grounded, something dangerous. The difference between hope and certainty. Most people try to feel confident before doing the work. They want to feel ready before taking action. They want the confidence first, and the competence later. But confidence does not come before action. It comes from action. You become confident after you've failed, learned, practiced, improved, repeated, and refined, not before. Confidence built on hope is fragile. Confidence built on competence is unbreakable. Hope says, I think I can. Competence says, I know I can. That single shift changes everything. Why practice creates dangerous confidence? Most people practice only until something becomes possible. The dangerously confident person practices until that thing becomes effortless. Repetition is not punishment, it is identity building. Each rep, each attempt, each mistake, each improvement imprints a new belief into your nervous system. I can handle this. I've seen this before. I know what to do. I've done the work. When your competence is high enough, you stop feeling anxious in situations that once terrified you. Your body knows the motions. Your mind recognizes the patterns. Your instincts sharpen. Your reactions become automatic. This is why elite performers look calm. Not because the situation is easy, but because they have trained themselves through difficulty. Their confidence is earned through thousands of unseen repetitions. Earned confidence versus fake confidence. It boasts, exaggerates, and clings to appearances. Earned confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It is felt, not performed. Fake confidence collapses under pressure. Earned confidence becomes stronger under pressure. Fake confidence avoids challenges. Earned confidence seeks them out. Fake confidence wants approval. Earned confidence wants accuracy, precision, and growth. Fake confidence asks, "Do I look confident?" Earned confidence asks, "Have I put in the work?" When you build competence, you no longer need to convince anyone, including yourself. Your skill speaks for you. The role of repetition in identity. Repetition is not just physical training, it is psychological conditioning. Every time you practice something intentionally, you teach your brain, "This is who I am. This is what I do. This is the level I operate at." Confidence becomes a side effect of identity. When you see yourself as someone disciplined, you act like someone disciplined. When you see yourself as capable, you rise to capability. When you see yourself as someone who follows through, you stop doubting yourself. Competence gives you evidence, and evidence reshapes identity. The dangerous power of specific skill. General confidence is fragile. Specific confidence is powerful. Instead of saying, "I want to be confident," dangerously confident people say, "I want to become exceptional at this one thing." Whether it's communication, leadership, negotiation, creative work, physical discipline, or mental resilience, confidence grows fastest when you sharpen a particular skill until it becomes part of you. Because when you master one thing deeply, your entire self-concept elevates. Mastery in one area spills into the rest of your life. You start walking differently. You start speaking differently. You start making decisions differently. Competence in one domain creates confidence in every domain. The role of failure in true mastery. People fear failure because they think it disproves their worth. Dangerously confident people understand. It is a requirement for who you will become. Failure is not a threat to competence. It is the path to competence. Each mistake teaches technique. Each setback teaches resilience. Each flaw teaches refinement. Those who never fail never learn. Those who never learn never grow. Those who never grow never become confident. Your failures are not evidence that you're not capable. They are evidence that you are in training. Train until automatic competence becomes dangerous when your skill reaches a level of automaticity, when you no longer have to think consciously about what you're doing. This is the moment everything changes. You stop mentally narrating every step. Your body begins performing with fluidity. Your mind becomes free to focus on strategy, not basic execution. Automaticity is mastery. It is the final stage of competence, and it is the birthplace of the kind of confidence that intimidates. Why? Because people can sense when something is effortless for you, and ease, especially in difficult situations, is magnetic. The practice for this week. The 1% training rule. For the next 7 days. Commit to improving one skill by just 1% each day. Just 1%. Not perfection. Not dramatic change. Not overwhelming pressure. Small. Consistent improvement builds momentum. Momentum builds identity. Identity builds confidence. Choose one area. Your communication, your emotional regulation, your physical discipline, your creative craft, your leadership, your boundary setting, your focus, your calmness, under stress. Train it deliberately. 7 days will create noticeable change. 30 days will change how you see yourself. 90 days will change how others see you. Competence is the backbone of dangerous confidence. It is the difference between hoping you can and knowing you can. Confidence that comes from competence does not shake. It does not crack under pressure. It does not vanish when challenged. It is earned. It is grounded. It is real. This is the 9th law, and once you master it, you will no longer question your ability. You will embody it. There is a kind of confidence that reveals itself only when the world becomes loud. A kind that doesn't show up when things are easy, but when everything around you begins to shake. Most people panic in chaos. They rush. They overreact. They lose their grounding. Their emotions take over. Their judgment collapses. And they make decisions from fear instead of clarity. But dangerously confident people move differently. When chaos erupts, they become still, not frozen, not passive. Still as in anchored, calm, composed, unmoved by the noise swirling around them. This ability to remain centered when others fall apart is one of the most intimidating and powerful forms of confidence a person can develop. Because in chaos, the calm person becomes the leader, the anchor, the gravity that everyone else unconsciously follows. Calm in chaos equals true dominance. Think about the last time you saw someone remain steady under pressure. Maybe it was a leader during a crisis. Maybe it was a friend who didn't lose their cool when everything went wrong. Maybe it was a stranger who handled a stressful situation with composure. Didn't they instantly command respect? Calmness is rare. Calmness is strength. Calmness is magnetic. People don't trust the loudest person in the room. They trust the one who stays in control when others lose themselves. Chaos strips people bare. It reveals who has emotional discipline and who has emotional dependence. The still person becomes the powerful one, not because they dominate others, but because they dominate themselves. Why most people break in chaos? Chaos triggers the survival brain. When something unexpected happens, a conflict, a crisis, a mistake, a sudden shock, the nervous system reacts instantly. Shallow breathing, racing heart, tunnel vision, impulsive reactions, emotional overdrive. Most people allow this automatic response to control them. They let fear decide. They let stress speak for them. They let pressure choose their next move. And the worst part, they think it's normal. But the dangerously confident person has trained themselves differently. They know something most people don't. You cannot control chaos, but you can control your internal state. And the person who controls their internal state controls the situation. Stillness is not inaction. It is intentional control. Stillness is often misunderstood. People assume stillness means doing nothing, saying nothing, withdrawing from action. But stillness is not inactivity. Stillness is deliberate action from a calm center. Stillness means you pause before reacting. You breathe before responding. You observe before deciding. You think before speaking. You choose clarity over urgency. Stillness is mastery over impulse. Anyone can act when things are smooth, but only a trained mind can stay composed in a storm. That is why stillness is dangerous, because very few people can maintain it. Crisis leadership. Why stillness wins in chaotic environments. One psychological principle always emerges. People follow the calmest person in the room, not the smartest, not the strongest, not the loudest, the calmest. Because calmness signals clarity. Calmness signals competence. Calmness signals leadership. When others are panicking, a single steady voice becomes a lighthouse. When others are emotional, a grounded presence becomes stabilizing. When others are confused, a composed demeanor becomes guidance. Dangerously confident people understand this deeply. If you can remain calm while everyone else is losing control, you will naturally rise into a position of influence. It doesn't matter whether you want authority or not, your stillness gives it to you. How stillness intimidates. Chaos is loud. Most people are loud. Their minds are loud. Their insecurities are loud. But a calm person, a person who doesn't react immediately, a person who doesn't crumble under pressure, that person becomes intimidating. Stillness makes people wonder, what do they know that I don't? Why aren't they shaken? What makes them so sure of themselves? What are they thinking? How are they so composed right now? Your calmness creates psychological uncertainty in others, because most people rely on reading emotional reactions to feel safe. When you don't give them that reaction, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. Stillness confuses opponents. Stillness steadies allies. Stillness amplifies your presence. The science of stillness. Your breath controls your mind when chaos hits. Your body wants to panic before your brain can think. This is where the simplest but most powerful tool comes in: breathing. Slow breathing interrupts panic signals. It tells your body, I am not in danger. This single shift gives your mind space to think logically instead of emotionally. One breath, one pause, one moment of stillness. That is all you need to take control of the situation. And control of the situation begins with control of yourself. A practical routine for chaos. The 5-second reset. Use this anytime you feel overwhelmed. Step 1. Inhale slowly for 3 seconds. Feel your body relax. Step 2. Hold for 1 second. This pause stops emotional momentum. Step 3. Exhale for 3-4 seconds. Let your muscles loosen. Step 4. Scan your body. Release tension from shoulders, jaw, hands. Step 5. Ask one question: what outcome do I want here? This shifts you from reactivity to leadership. Try this once. You'll feel the difference instantly. Try it daily. You will become unshakable. The more chaos you face, the stronger you become. Stillness is a skill, And like any skill, it strengthens with practice. Every stressful moment is an opportunity to train. A heated conversation, a sudden problem, a mistake you didn't expect, an emotional trigger, a crisis at work, a conflict in a relationship. Most people run from chaos. Dangerously confident people use it as their training ground. Chaos becomes their gym. Pressure becomes their weight. Stillness becomes their strength. The person who can stay calm cannot be broken. Chaos reveals character. Weak people collapse. Reactive people explode. Insecure people panic. Untrained people lose control. But the person who stays calm, they rise. They see clearly. They think strategically. They move intentionally. They become the one others rely on. They become the one others follow. They become the one others respect. Stillness in chaos is not just a skill, it is a superpower. This is the 10th law, and once you master it, you will carry a presence that nothing can shake. Because the world becomes quiet for the person who learns how to remain still in the storm. You've reached the end of this journey, a journey into a stronger, calmer, and more unshakable version of yourself. But remember, this confidence doesn't transform your life just by listening. It transforms your life when you practice it. Every law you learned here is a tool to help you stay grounded when others panic, to guide your decisions when emotions rise, to remind you who you are when the world tests you. Dangerous confidence isn't loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't depend on approval or outcomes. It is the quiet, steady strength you build each day through discipline, clarity, and presence. So as you step back into your own life, carry these principles with you. Breathe before reacting. Lead instead of chasing. Detach from what you can't control. Train your skills until certainty replaces doubt. And above all, move through the world as someone who needs nothing because your power comes from within. This is how you become untouchable. This is how you become someone the world cannot ignore. If this audiobook gave you clarity, strength, or a new mindset, please support the channel so we can continue creating powerful content for you. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment your biggest lesson. Share this with someone who needs it. Your engagement helps this message reach more people who are ready to grow. Thank you for listening. This is not the end, it's the beginning of your rise into dangerous confidence. I'll see you in the next audiobook.